Hi, Billy Mays here with Zorbies. Hi, Billy Mays here for OxyClean.
Hi, it's Vince with ShamWow.
Hi, Phil Swift here for Flex Tape.
Everyone knows these ads, but for the vast majority of ads I see, I always wonder, does advertising even work? I don't know about you, but whenever I see an ad on TikTok or Instagram, I immediately swipe past it. My eyes glaze over the first few search results anytime I'm on a computer without an ad blocker. Any ads that manage to get past my ad blocker never even make it past my peripheral vision. I'm like a linebacker for advertising, a brick wall.
You shall not pass!
Or maybe I just have autism. But nevertheless, this led me to thinking, does advertising work? Is it just because I grew up with the internet and I've been bombarded by ads my entire online life? I can't remember the last time I saw an ad for something and said, huh, that looks interesting. Now I want to buy that product. But maybe that's not even the goal of advertising. It's just to raise something vague like brand awareness. Or maybe it's even more sinister, to influence our unconscious mind into consuming more of their products. Maybe all the stuff they warned us about subliminal messaging was real. Let's be honest, ads are everywhere, probably even on this video. You basically can't escape them. Even paying for Hulu's basic plan still includes watching commercials.
If I wanted to pay for commercials I can't skip, I'd sign up for Hulu Plus.
Stadiums are named after them, there's product placement in all of our movies, and if the Zuck dream comes true, there'll be ads in the metaverse in 360 degrees. You won't even be able to look away.
Senator, we run ads.
Actually, apparently I have some good news to share with you. The metaverse is officially dead. But then, if ads are everywhere, it seems a moot point to even ask, do they work? It's just something we all take for granted. And I was going to make this video kind of evidence they do work versus evidence they don't, but I don't really think we need any more evidence they work. Surely every major company wouldn't be spending billions of dollars a year on advertising if it didn't work. Well, that's the common retort you'll hear from many in the advertising industry who insist that ads work because companies wouldn't buy ads if they didn't work. But in this video, you're going to see that that's not always the case. The first problem with this claim is that humans don't always behave rationally, as we both know. We don't suddenly turn into logic robots when we decide to start a business or get hired as a CEO. Just look at how the CEO of Microsoft reacted to the iPhone when it was first revealed back in 2007.
He pulls out this iPhone. What was your first reaction when you saw that?
$500 fully subsidized with a plan? I said, that is the most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customers because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not a very good email machine.
And I imagine this frame that the video ends on is a perfect example of his reaction years later to the iPhone. Companies waste extraordinary amounts of money. But more importantly, whether they work or not, there's a large group of people who are highly incentivized to say that they do work. 83% of Google's revenue comes from advertising, and with Facebook, it's 98%. These two companies are worth almost $2 trillion combined, and that's not even counting all of the people who work in advertising. But let's ignore all of that for a moment and ask, what evidence is there that they work? Advertising has two goals. One is raising awareness of your brand, product, whatever. The other is to generate sales. Undoubtedly, ads are good at the very least at raising awareness, right? I mean, to raise awareness, ads have to be seen by the target audience. Google once revealed that nearly 60% of ads aren't even seen by anyone. This was done using eye tracking software, and they found that many websites place ads in locations not viewed by the user, either below an article that users simply don't scroll down to or on the sideline. Now, the study is a little dated. If I had to wager a guess, I'd say Google realized this kind of data, which was originally intended to help advertisers choose where to market and UX designers to create websites where the ads were more visible, was ultimately bad PR. A more recent 2021 study found that 76% of people are not actively watching television commercials either. They either pick up their phone, switch the channel, leave the room, or mute the television. Some ads are better at garnering attention than others, but for the most part, many people have learned to tune out ads, even if they're forced to watch them. And 85% of users surveyed said they hit the skip button on ads whenever possible. Not sure who these 15% of people are who are watching the ads the whole way through, though. But for the ads we do experience, likely they're not resulting in conscious decision. Few people see any given ad and then end up purchasing that product, which I originally thought was the goal of advertising and perhaps why I'm so reluctant to admit it works on me. One of the problems of even researching and discussing this topic is that many of the researchers, organizations, and individuals involved in studying advertising have a job that depends upon it. We're looking for how to make ads work more, how to increase their effectiveness, and much of this research is being done by marketing firms and advertising agencies. The question isn't even asked. A few researchers who have looked into this problem have come to some surprising conclusions. Stephen Tadelis, a professor at Berkeley's Haas School of Business, was hired to look into the efficacy of eBay's marketing. When he was hired, eBay was spending about $1 billion per year on advertising across multiple avenues. They had already hired an advertising firm, but his job was to determine if that money was being put to good use. The first thing he found was that eBay at the time was buying brand keyword ads. That means that if you did a search for eBay, the top result was a paid ad for eBay. The consulting firm he was hired to manage determined these were the highest click-through ads, but it didn't make any sense. If I'm searching for eBay, I already know where to go. I'm likely just a grandma who doesn't understand the internet very well. Having a paid link right above the free link was a waste of eBay's money, and when they stopped running these ads, they saw no drop in sales. But he didn't stop there. He wanted to see what would happen if eBay stopped advertising for all sorts of products. eBay sells pretty much everything from Justin Bieber's Right Yeezy to a slightly used sole. And these are called keyword search ads. So if you Google "my Yiddish mama for sale, beautiful, great cook," you might see this eBay listing. And can I just say, 0 bids? Really? She seems like a nice lady. What would happen if eBay stopped running these? I'll let him explain the end result of turning off all search keyword ads for 60 days.
And what we found in the experiment is after 60 days of having this turned off, which is quite a long time, the impact on sales was indistinguishably different from 0.
And he isn't the only researcher who has come to this conclusion. Anna Tuchman, an associate professor of marketing at Northwestern University, did a study on the top 500 brands as measured by dollar sales that advertise on television. Things like Coca-Cola, Pampers, Folgers, Bud Light. Now, her study used a metric called ad elasticity. It's important to know what that is for what comes next. Ad elasticity measures an advertising campaign's effectiveness in generating new sales. So let me give you an example. An ad elasticity of 0.3 indicates that if you doubled your spending on ads, a 100% increase, that would result in 30% more sales. Her study among all of these brands found that the median ad elasticity for television marketing was 0.01. That meant if they doubled their spending, they would increase their sales by 1%. Further analysis showed that the return on investment for most of their advertising was negative. Ads were losing these companies more money than they were generating. Her team had 2 hypotheses as to why these companies that supposedly only care about making money would be wasting so much of it. The first was that perhaps people who decide the ad budgets don't have goals that align with simply maximizing the company's profit. Their incentives might lean more towards maximizing the amount of advertising the company does. Secondly, measuring the effectiveness of advertising is already difficult. Think of it like this. If you want to advertise sunscreen, you're probably going to spend a lot more money doing that during the summer than the winter. And, as you might expect, you're also going to see sales for sunscreen go way up during the summer. It's easy for an advertising executive to look at that data and say, I can clearly see our ads are working. And don't get me wrong, it makes sense to advertise sunscreen more in the summer, but naturally sales will increase then as well. So it can be hard to prove that ads work or they don't work, and many people in the advertising industry have responded to both of these studies and said they're flawed, misleading, short-sighted, etc. And they may be right, but they're hardly an unbiased source of information. It seems like, for the most part, most companies are spending far too much on advertising. But is this such a bad thing? That's what I like to call the useful lie of advertising. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that so much of what we have come to know and appreciate about the internet exists because of ads. Like I said earlier, YouTube wouldn't be possible without them. A lot of valuable journalism can only be funded through advertising on their website. Maybe ads don't really work, or maybe they do, but as annoying as they are, they can fund a lot of good things. But just for a second, imagine if you had to pay to use YouTube. Imagine all the crazy, non-family friendly content that could exist. And we wouldn't have to bleep every swear word. So ads, as much as we hate them and tend to block them any chance we get, do make a lot of great things possible. Even if they don't work, at this point, let's just keep pretending they do before advertisers realize and suddenly everything on the internet is paywalled.